Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of Planetary's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about planets in the 6th house. Now, what is the 6th house? The 6th house is an archetype that rules Virgo, the sign Virgo. So, before we even step into the Virgo archetype, we have to talk about the arrangement. The house arrangement that Virgo live in. This is the house Virgo live in. So the house, how the house is decorated, how the house is perceived, how the outlook of the house or whatever is going to be a Virgo. That's where Virgo live at. So that's where Virgo do things at. Each house is where the zodiac sign lives. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about the 6th house, what is the 6th house? The 6th house is work. Nourishing the work, not the emotions, the work. That means taking time, putting detail in it, putting energy into it. It's the work process towards your goals. So it's things that you have to put into routine. You know, if you want to practice on something, you know you practice in something of the same degree, something of the same thing in order to perfect it. So you actually put it into a routine. You actually make it something that you do on a day-to-day basis. So the 6th house is like routines, things you do on a day-to-day basis, and things that you put into routine, things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Those are things that you work towards. Those are things that you work on. Those are things you look at into detail to see if you're missing something or if you didn't pass something up, and make sure you're understanding every little detail of it before you go work on whatever you're going to work towards. So that's the 6th house. So right here we're going to talk about planets in the 6th house. So let's start with the sun. Now, with the sun being in the 6th house, this is how people see you. People may see you as work orientated. People may see you have a lot of energy towards getting things done. People see you have a lot of energy towards looking at details. People see that you may be a neat freak to a certain degree. You may be the person who get all the scheduling done in the house. You may be the person who know how to plan the most in the house. You set up things in the house. Like when people are on medication in the household or around you, most of the time you're the person who's helping them with that. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time, you're the person who's helping them with that situation in their life. These people are the servers. Now, when I say serve, that don't mean servants. These people serve out of love. See, people get a misconception about a Virgo's appreciation. Now, I'm getting ready to talk about Virgos in general right now. Now, see, the thing with Virgos is people think because they criticize and they nitpick or whatever like that, and then when they do go out to be an asset other than a liability, people want to say Virgos are here to serve, and they are here to serve. But we have this left brain annotation on Earth right now that a person who serves is a servant. So when you put a person who serves into a servant type of metaphysic energy, then you start to develop programs on how to look at this person. So you start to look down on this person or whatever like that. Now that will crush a Virgo's ego. Now when you do that, you're gonna think of Virgo. Now you're gonna think of Virgo is emotionally unstable or emotionally clingy. But see, here's what you may not know about a Virgo. A Virgo is not emotional at all. Now, the reason that they come across like that is it doesn't come from an emotional standpoint. So if you have a Virgo in your life, or you are a Virgo, and you have someone telling you that you're a little too emotional, too moody, or the Virgos in your life, you come to a point where you're telling them that they're too critical, or they're too emotional, or they're too moody. See, you're always going to throw a Virgo off when you say that, because that criticism don't come from a realm of moodiness. It don't come from a realm of feeling. It don't come from a realm of emotions. Like when a Virgo is giving you criticism, they're not doing it out of how they feel, because that's how they feel about you. So when they do that to you, you're going to start to feel a certain way about them. But see, that's the misconception Virgos have. See, you can't put them in a servant realm of reality. You have to put them in just a serving realm of reality. So when they serve you criticism, serve you detail, when you take them out of that servant realm of reality, you only can look at it like they're doing it out of they're concerned for you. So now when you get concerned, you get the affirmations of caring, clinginess. So it may get, lines may get blurred in that realm of reality where you think that the Virgo is clingy. You think that the Virgo is too much caring. They care too much about little stuff. Where the caring ain't of the emotional caring. It's more of the detailed. So if they see you doing something wrong, they can see where it may lead to, because they see the details of what you're doing and what you're doing into the routine and what it may lead up to. So they genuinely do it out of because they may love you or they may care about you. But if they care a little too much, you can blur that with them being clingy or emotion or being too emotional or moody. But to them, it's not an emotional attachment. To them, it's because they just care. They care. And sometimes they can just care a little too much. You know what I'm saying? So that's the annotation around that. But as far just for just in general, the sixth house, when people who have sun here in the sixth house, it don't matter what sign they are. They're gonna carry a little bit of Virgo attributes, and that's for any placement in any sign. Like if, for an example, if you are Taurus or Gemini sun, but say Gemini is in your fifth house, and then your sun degrees being in Gemini doesn't lead up to the degree of the houses, then it's always going to be in the house before it. So your fifth house may be Gemini, and you may be a sun in Gemini, but depending on the degrees of your sun, you may still have a fourth house sun. So your fourth house is going to be Taurus. So you're going to act. So your actions is going to carry a lot of Cancer traits. And it's going to play out a lot of Taurus traits. But in general, your actions is going to be Gemini. So so with the sun being in the fourth house, but your sun being in Gemini and the fourth house being Taurus and the original ruler of the fourth house being Cancer, here's what may happen with that sun sign person. The sun is the actions, the way you act. So you're going to act like a Gemini, but it's going to be placed into the fourth house. So the fourth house is Taurus. So how you act like a Gemini, what is Gemini? Communication and thinking. And it's mutable communication and thinking. So you're going to be mutable in communicating and thinking about practical things, common sense. You know what I'm saying? Because it fell into the fourth house. And if your fifth house Gemini, and then your sun Gemini didn't reach the degree of the fifth house Gemini, it's gonna fall into the fourth house. So you're gonna have a sun in Gemini in a Taurus fourth house. So the things that you communicate and think about is gonna be Taurus-like. It's gonna be how to get practical, common sense, how to be stable, how to gain stability. Now, underneath that, you're going to be communicating and thinking about Taurus things, but the way you do it is going to be in a Cancer way, because the actual ruler of the fourth house is in Cancer. So this is how it play out if you're confused. So let me start back. Now, Gemini, you have a Gemini sun. Now, if your fifth house Gemini and your sun doesn't reach the degree, it's going to be in the fourth house. So you're going to be a sun sign Gemini, but it's going to be placed in the fourth house, and you have a Taurus fourth house, which is before Gemini. So that means you're going to communicate and think about practical things, common sense, Taurus-like things, values, and things that you have, and stability. But the things that you communicate, which is the value, stability, and how to get stable, and how to have common sense, that's going to be ringed around Cancer archetype, which is you're going to have common sense and communicate about foundation and stability when it comes to home, domestic issues, close people, how you value, how you connect with close ones, how you gain emotional stability within yourself and others. See, that's why it's such a dynamic when we talk about the natal chart, that a lot of times it can get confused. It'll still make a person think, well, that's not me because I don't feel like that, because they're not adding in all the aspects. See what I'm saying? So You know, the sun is vitality. This is what people are going to see. People see people see you, or you may see others. The first thing you see off them is, oh, this person is a scheduled person. This person is a detailed person. This person know how to take step-by-step plan. This person work hard. This person is a hard worker. This person likes to get their job done before pleasures. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the sun in the 6th house. This is what people see from you, or this is what you're going to see from others. Vitality around routine, energy, scheduling. Now, the moon is the reactions, how you feel. Well, Venus is more how you feel, but it can play into this too, because it's the emotional report. So it's your reactions, how you react to things, would cause a feeling and would cause an emotional reaction. So what happens here is, the moon is what you're going to manifest and what you feel comfortable with. So with the moon being in the 6th house, you're never going to feel comfortable unless you're working towards something. You're going to feel uncomfortable when you don't have routines, when you don't have things that you do on a day-to-day basis, or you're going to feel uncomfortable around scattered people. You're going to feel uncomfortable around spontaneous people. You're going to feel uncomfortable around erratic people who don't have an understanding of scheduling and planning, or people who don't have an understanding of working hard, or working towards a goal. You know what I'm saying? Working towards a process, or just work in general. If you can't work at anything, or if you don't understand the details of anything, you're going to be too scattered minded. Now, moon and 6th house, these people feel uncomfortable when they're in situations like that. They feel most comfortable when they have something to fall back on, when they have some type of stability, some type of foundation, some type of routine, some type of day-to-day basis, some type of work that some type of thing that they can work on, or even work in general. These people may love and appreciate their jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like the sun in the 6th house may not always like they work, but they're going to make sure they get their job done and make sure they show everybody else that they get their job done. The moon here, they may love their work. They may feel uncomfortable when they don't have a job. You see what I'm saying? Because see, the moon is the needs. The sun is the wants. So the sun is going to go out here and get what it wants to do to please the body. The moon is going to go out here and get what it needs, so it could be securely, it could be stable, it could be secure inside. You know what I'm saying? So with the moon, that's how you have to look at the dynamics when it's in the houses. So the moon always is going to feel comfortable when they are working towards something. So if they moon signs in the 6th house, if they add a job that they don't like, they know how to manifest situations within a job that they do like. So they can go into it and just deal with the situation how it is, and be able to go home and not let nothing bother them. But a lot of stuff can get inside their inner world too, like gossip at work. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you can indulge too much of that, or you can start to feel like you're connecting to people that's not connecting to you. So you start to put illusions around, or start to feel certain ways about people that may not necessarily be the way you should be feeling about them, and that could be positive or good. So be wary of that. But the moon in the 6th house is always going to want to nurture something that they're working towards and appreciate it. Now, when you have Venus, let's start with Mercury. Now, Mercury in the 6th house. Mercury is communication and thinking. So Mercury gonna love to communicate about work. Gonna love to communicate about things that they do every day. Love to like Mercury. The Mercury is not actually the doer. It's the thinker. It's the analyzer. So Mercury loves to be here. So with Mercury is allowed to plan. Is allowed to think. See, Mercury loves to be in the 3rd and the 6th house. You know what I'm saying? Mercury loves to be in those houses because it's home. It's home to Mercury, you know what I'm saying? And actually, the 6th house is like Mercury being at home and Disneyland, like a kid being at Disneyland. It's a kid being able to be at Disneyland how long they want to be there. So Mercury is the thinking and the communication. This what makes Virgos a little bit more communicative than Capricorns and Taurus, because of the Mercury aspect. Now, and this is what makes them a little bit more changeable. So what happens here is, when you have Mercury in the 6th house, Mercury could think, and could think about the things it wants to think about. Scheduling, planning, details, puzzles, crossword puzzles, something to figure out, any type of detective work, any type of something that's placed in front of you that you got to analyze and figure out. And the only way you can analyze and figure out is processing the details of it. You know what I'm saying? Mercury loves that kind of shit. And what? It can put it in routine. It can do this shit every day. It can do this shit on a day-to-day basis. It could work on analyzing. It could work on this shit. What? This is the motherfucking spot for Mercury. This is the kick-it spot for Mercury. You know what I'm saying? So Mercury is the nerve system. Mercury, this is a lot of times why Virgos got good teeth. This is a lot of times why Libras have good teeth. Because of the Venus aspect and the communication. See, Libra is an air sign, so it's the thinking and communication. So when forms of communication from a human comes out the mouth. And when you have Venus and communication in the same area, it's beautiful. So Libras have beautiful communication. They think beautifully. You know what I'm saying? They may look beautiful as far as this area. When it gets to the eyes, it may differ. But when it gets from this part and down, Libras are beautiful. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times. You know what I'm saying? And it depends on your planetary alignment, other planetary alignments, if something begs to differ. But for the most part, usually Libras have good teeth. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, Virgos know how, if they don't have good teeth, a lot of times they get into situations in their life where they can get their teeth fixed. They can get braces, or they end up working towards a goal that they can get the money to get their teeth fixed because they're concerned about this type of thing. So right here, communication and thinking, you can do that in a work area. And that's some of the most important people in work fields. When you work with someone who know about everything about the job, you go to them for advice. You go to them for help. You go to them, you just like being around them because they know shit. A lot of times they may get a little bossy. This is a lot of times why Mercury in the 6th houses are bosses. You know what I'm saying? Are people who are given orders because they know the detail and they know the work and they analyze the work field enough to know what it takes to get the job done. So when people who are in that field, they know how to organize and orchestrate these people. You know what I'm saying? So Mercury loves being in the 6th house. You know what I'm saying? Now, Venus is love, appreciation, value, and how it relates to others. Now, Venus hates being here. Like, Venus is at work here. Like, Venus is actually, no, Venus is not even at work here. Venus is asleep here. When a planet is at work, that means it's debilitated. That means it's away. That means it's on the left side of the earth. You know what I'm saying? When it's wherever it's at. If it's debilitated and it's away, that means it's on the left side of the earth. And if it's on the left side of the earth, that means it's at work. That means it's at a place that it doesn't. That means it's at a place. It's not a right place for itself. When you at work, that's not a right place for a human. But you go to work because of the things you're going to get out of it, in order for your regular life that is right for you. So that's why you feel like you need a job. So it's like left field. So anytime a planet is in left field or debilitated, is at work. It doesn't want to be there, but it's going to use the tools it has to do in order to get the job done, so it can, when it go back home, it can relax and benefit from what it had to do when it put in the work. So it's going to show negative attributes. When you at home, you feel comfortable, you feel breezy, you feel like light. When you at work, you don't want nobody to piss you off. So you may have a certain mood about yourself or a certain attitude that you carry yourself at work, because that's the protection you need at work, so you can come out of work all right. So that's how the planets appear to be when they're debilitated at work. But see, when a planet is underneath the earth, that means it's fallen. That means it's underneath the earth. So if you look up and see a planet and it's up, like for an example, if the sun is in Scorpio, if the sun is in Libra, the sun falls in Libra. So the sun is asleep in Libra. So when you look up, if you looking up, right, while the sun is in Libra, which that means the sun, from September 20 something till October 20 something, the sun is in Libra, right? Now, throughout that time, when you go outside and look up, and you think you're looking up from a perspective of Earth, yeah, you're looking up from a Earth point of view, yeah, the sun is going to appear up. But in space, the sun is underneath the Earth. So you're magnetically connected to the Earth. So the Earth is always moving with these other planets, following the sun movement. And the sun is moving through space. So when the Earth is doing all these spinnings and stuff like that, you don't know if you're left, right, up, or down. But since you're magnetically connected to the earth, it doesn't matter where the earth is looking. It's going to appear to you as it's up. But as a whole, as earth itself and all of us being one with the earth, that's actually us being upside down. So when you go outside and look up and see the sun being up, if the sun is in Libra at that time of the year and you go outside and look up, from a space point of view, you're upside down. You're looking down. You see what I'm saying? The sun is underneath the earth when it's in Libra. The moon is underneath the earth when it's in Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? So Mercury is underneath the earth when it's in Venus. So when it's in Virgo. So Venus is asleep because it's exalted in Pisces. Anytime a planet is exalted, it's on top of the earth. So, for an example, I gave you an example. So it's on top of the earth. When the sun is exalted, it's on top of the earth. When the sun is at home, it's righteous. It's on the right side of the earth. When the sun is falls, it's sleep. It's underneath the earth. When a planet is debilitated, and I hope I wasn't saying sun the whole time. I meant all planets. And when a planet is debilitated, it's on the left side of the earth. It's that worked. So it's wide awoke, but it had to do something left field. See what I'm saying? So Venus here in the 6th house, that's how it feels. It feels it's at work. Because when Venus want to love, when Venus want to appreciate, when Venus want to value, when Venus want to relate to others, it can't really do that because it's sleep. So instead of relating, instead of valuing, it's resting. So right now, it's paying attention to details that get covered up on it. It's analyzing too much. Before you can appreciate someone's idea, you're going to analyze it too much. You're going to think about it too much. You're going to think about the details of it too much. Before you can relate to someone, you're going to be too busy criticizing them, nitpicking them, or what they done wrong, this, that, and third. See what I'm saying? Before you can love someone, you're going to be too busy looking at, criticizing what kind of love they gave you, what kind of energy they gave you, you're going to be looking too much at the details of what kind of character this person is, and you're going to be analyzing, is this person even capable of loving you or not? And you're not God to know that. But since you're too bent on trying to analyze that, you block blessings. See, Venus is love, appreciation, value, and how I relate to others. How you going to relate to someone too busy criticizing, nitpicking? How you going to experience pleasures when you're too busy working? You see why Venus hates being in Virgo? But here's the good things though. Here's the positive aspect. You're able to love